How's everybody doing today? This is Corey Lee's Boxing, and we are back with another banger. So please smash that like button, you guys, and subscribe. And yeah, man, I want to talk about, the world of boxing, man. I want to talk about what's been going on in the world of boxing lately. There's a lot of topics to cover. And, I'm going to be honest with you guys, man. Right now, one of the top fights that I've seen this year would definitely have to be the Terrence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez, not only because it generated so much money and generated, so much appeal, and people really wanted to see that fight because that was a real fight, but you got to think at the end of the day, styles, there's styles out here for a reason, and I just feel like styles make fights straight up, I mean, look at how Tyson and Holyfield fought, I feel like Holyfield at that weight, at that, slim and trim and fight ready shape that he was in, coming up from cruiserweight, I feel like, he was a really good match for Mike Tyson, and could take some of Tyson's good punches, Some say Tyson was a shell of himself. Hey, some say Canelo Alvarez is a shell of himself. But hey, the fight happened, be it what it's may, and Terrence Bud Crawford won the fight fair and square. I had money on Terrence Crawford winning the fight. I also had money on it being a draw as well. But, at the end of the day, this is why they fight. This is why they fight. This is why they, go out there and risk their life every single time they fight. No fighter is against the rule, because you don't play boxing. You might play basketball, football, maybe even baseball. You play those sports, but for no reason at all, I cannot name one reason why you would play boxing. Okay. Maybe if you want to look at it in the chess realm, this is chess, not checkers, as some would say, but at the end of the day, this is a thinking man's sport, but this is a sport that can finish you completely. You know what I'm saying? So I'm being honest, and I've seen it done before, and I think Terrence Crawford, I say all that to say this, Terrence Crawford, made a hell of a jump. He went from 168 pounds. He went from 147 pounds, because I still think he could have made the weight, okay, to 168 pounds, you guys. That's a big jump, man. And I gotta respect any fighter, especially when you're going after one of the best fighters in the world of boxing, and especially at 168 pounds. Canelo Alvarez, is a really good fighter, man. He's a great fighter. I don't know how great Canelo still is. I still think he has greatness left. Do I think he's the greatest fighter in boxing right now? No, I do not. No, I do not. Do I think Terrence Crawford is the greatest fighter that's in the world of boxing right now? He's one of them. I really feel like him and Usyk, man, are, they are just the cream of the crop, man. They are the cream of the crop. I feel like, it gets, I just don't see it getting too much more better than that. Hey, you never know what the future holds, but, both guys really being at a high level, man, and a technician in that ring, man. And you got to understand, not a lot of fighters can do that. Not a lot of fighters even in that type of shape they're equipped enough to even handle that. These guys are hurting guys. Both guys that I named, Usyk and Crawford, hurting guys later in the rounds. later in their career. You know? Come on, man. You know Terrence Crawford is going to bring it every single fight. You know Alexander Usyk is going to bring it every single fight. You know? Especially here of late. You know? Usyk finishing off Daniel Dubois, you know, in devastating fashion. And Terrence Crawford, you know, I feel like winning the scorecards on, you know, 80% of the world of boxing, I feel like, you know, because you still got some Canelo fans out there that think Canelo won, but I think it's more of an 80-20. They think Crawford won that fight, straight up. But Usyk left no doubt. But I respect Crawford for moving up. And I wasn't, to be honest with you, I wasn't expecting a knockout. You know, I wasn't expecting a knockout. I actually was expecting a draw, you know, which it was close. If Terrence Crawford didn't win the last 2 rounds, it would have been a draw in 2 of the judges' scorecards. So you guys got to understand, man, boxing is a very, very fickle sport. It's a sport that, you know, one judge can fucking ruin, and excuse me for the language, but one judge can literally ruin a boxer's career. You know what I'm saying? I really feel like judges had that much power, man. You know? I really do. Look at Vasil Lomachenko's career, man. He didn't get any of the close decisions. He got very, very few of the close decisions when it really mattered in his boxing career. And now look at him. He's retired. Taking pictures with Terrence Crawford. You know? But I wanted to talk the world of boxing today. You know, we got to start off with a banger, man. You know what I'm saying? We had to start it off with a banger, man. Straight up, man. That's how I'm coming. That's how I've always been. That's how you guys know me. You know what I'm saying? And listen, man, if you guys are just joining or you just listening for the first time, smash the hell out of that like button, man. It's Corley Boxing, man. You already know, man. Been doing this shit, man. You know what I'm saying? For a minute. And I mean, right now, the world of boxing is wide open, man. With Canelo Alvarez losing, I feel like that opens the door for another mega superstar to walk into boxing, man. You know? To walk into this world and this sport of boxing that we love, you know? You know? And just like in the world, just like, you know, in life, you're going to have some good days, you're going to have some bad days in boxing. You're going to have some good days, and you're going to damn sure have some bad days. And that goes for the fighter, and that goes for the damn cards they're putting on, because they've been awful lately. Some of these fucking put their kids up. Some of these boxing cards should not even be sanctioned. Damn it. I mean, what are we doing, man? We're putting together shit shows and they want us to fucking pay. Excuse me. Put the kids up. They want me to pay for it. No. I don't want to do it to y'all, but I got to do it. I'm going to watch it. But I'm sorry, man. No disrespect, man. I love the sport of boxing, man. But I'm just not going to pay for every last one of those cards that are pay-per-view. Some of them are not worthy for pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. So, like I said, right now, man, the world of boxing is wide open for another mega superstar to come in the world of boxing. There's a lot of fight fans out here that's eager to see who the next big fighter is going to be. You know, I mean, let's just be honest. Nobody knows who the next big fighter is going to be. You know what I'm saying? You got Crawford Stevenson. You got even Gervonta Tank Davis. But now Gervonta Tank Davis is saying that, you know, he doesn't have too much more longer left in boxing. Straight up. You know, and I'm paraphrasing, but, you know, listen. When the guys, Gervonta Davis says certain things the way he says it, you know, is he really still in it? We'll see after this Jake Paul fight. I mean, we'll see definitely during the Jake Paul fight, but I definitely think we'll see after the Jake Paul fight. You know, once he fights possibly Lamont Roach for that, you know, much needed rematch, just to end the whole chapter of Lamont Roach and Gervonta Tank Davis. Because if he goes back in there and, you know, ices this shit out of Lamont Roach, you know, everybody's gonna say I told you so. You know, but as far as Shakur Stevenson goes, another top fighter in the realm of boxing, you know, Shakur Stevenson, they're talking about he's going to be possibly fighting Teofimo Lopez. I like that fight. I think that fight is a good fight. I think that's a good fight. I really, really do. But I think Shakur Stevenson gets the nod. And, you know, stuff like that. And like I said, you know, Shakur's skills pay the bills. I think Teofimo Lopez definitely has skill, and I'm not saying that Teofimo Lopez can't win that fight. But Shakur Stevenson being so defensively responsible, it's hard to pick against him. You see what I'm saying? Especially when you go into the scorecards. You know, because did you really hit him? Like, that's some of the questions that you got to ask yourself after a Shakur Stevenson fight. Did he really get hit? And sometimes, and most of the time, the answer is no. You know? I say about 70 to 80% of the time, no. He didn't get hit. Especially flush. You know, I haven't seen Shakur Stevenson get hit flush too many times, man. You know? Much less in the same fight. You know? It's almost like once you hit him flush once or twice, that might be it for the night. You know what I'm saying? His boxing IQ is that high. You know what I'm saying? So you guys got to think, man. These guys are big, big thinkers in the world of boxing. And you know, for you to get past Shakur Stevenson, you're gonna have to put on a hell of a show. You know, and you're gonna have to make people think that, hey, man, you know, you're the one. Because right now, Shakur Stevenson going into the Teofimo Lopez fight, he's the one. Until Teofimo Lopez shows me otherwise. You know, and I'm not taking anything away from Teofimo Lopez. I've interviewed him on numerous occasions. But I'm calling a spade. And I've seen Teofimo Lopez lose. I have not seen Shakur Stevenson lose yet. And especially not on paper. So, you know, right now, I'm leaning towards Shakur Stevenson. Okay? And then you got, you know, Demetrius Bivol. But I think when it comes down to the Bivol, you know, yes, he beat, you know, Ultra Better Beef, you know, in the rematch. He did lose to him, but then he came back and he beat him. Okay, I give you props on that. You didn't fight him for a trilogy because you had surgery. I respect that. But at the end of the day, are you going to be the next face of boxing? He's already beat two of the very, 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 very top guys at this sport of boxing, and Canelo Alvarez and Artur Beterbiev. Artur Beterbiev is one of the most feared boxers in the history of boxing. Okay, I've never seen a man get ducked from rankings 1 through 10. He fought Cooling, and Cooling, when it was time for the IBF, when Andre Ward relinquished his belts. Okay, I'm going to give you a little history lesson here, okay? When Andre Ward relinquished his belts, okay, you had Cooling, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing his name, but he fought Artur Beterbiev for the vacant IBF title. Okay? He was after the top 10, or he was right at the top 10. He was right outside of the top 10. Okay? Or top, should I say top 9? Because he was like 10 or 11, I believe. Or either 12. But the top 9 guys, you guys, in the IBF rankings said no to fight Artur Beterbiev in his prime. Let that sink in for a minute. You guys pull up the rankings, and if you go to the IBF, you know, Google IBF at 168 pounds, it should have probably come up. I'm not even on the internet right now. So this is just, you know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean? So But I'm letting you guys know, I've never seen a man get ducked and the top 9 guys duck him. Top 9 guys in the world at 168 pounds in the world of boxing. No one man in the top 9 rankings, or it could have been 10 or 11. I think Colin was 11 or 12. I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, but he could have been 10. But I know for sure he was out of the top 9. You know, and they went to him. They asked everybody in the top, 10 or 11 rankings, and they asked, hey, we're giving Archer Beterbiev a shot, and now we're awarding you with a vacant IBF title shot. And 9 guys at least said no. Okay? And then Cooling got iced. Okay? Archer Beterbiev was on a knockout streak before he fought Beterbiev. Before Beterbiev fought Bivol, he was on a knockout streak. Over 18 fighters in a row got iced. In a row. You know what I'm saying? His first 18 opponents got iced. If not, or I believe even more than that. But listen, at least the first 18, like I said, I'm not on the internet. Facts check the joint. So that's a lot of fighters, and that's a lot of top fighters. Mind you, his first 5-10 fights, he was fighting current or former world champions. Former world champions in his first 10 fights. First 5 to 10 fights, So 18 of top guys he was fighting. You know what I'm saying? And listen, man, they avoided him, man. And so for Bivol to beat him, I got to give him credit. But will he sell a pay-per-view? Is he the next top guy, in the world of boxing, to replace Canelo? I don't think he is. I'm going to just be honest with you. I think he's going to get a couple more wins. And I think that's going to be it for Bivol, because these Beterbiev fights, he's already getting surgery. Beterbiev is hitting this dude with fucking straight leather. You know what I'm saying? He's putting, and pause on this, but he's putting belt to ass. Beterbiev is not playing, man. He's coming in there to destroy the fuck out of you. His punches hurt, man. From what all the boxers are saying, this dude breaks bones for hitting your heart. He'll fuck your arm up to get to your head. He'll fuck your shoulder up to get to your body. The guy's a wizard. So for Bivol to beat him, which I think he did in the second fight, it was a close fight. It was a close fight, but I think he pulled away with it for sure. Like I said, it was a close fight, but I think he pulled away. But now, you got Alexander Usyk at heavyweight. Okay, can he be the next face of boxing? And I'm gonna just say for that, no. I don't think he can. I think he'll fight a couple more times, like Bivol, and I think that'll be it. He says, I think Usyk's saying he has 3 or 4 more years left. But I just don't think right now he's the face of boxing. I don't think that I just don't think that he is. I'm not taking anything away from him. He's been my top guy, top favorite fighter for a minute. But at the end of the day, you can't be but damn so much. You can't. You just you got to know when a fighter is at their peak, and when they're peaking out. And I just think that Usyk's so much ahead of these guys at heavyweight that I just really truly feel like he can just keep winning and beating the guys that I've seen in the heavyweight division, so far, So we'll see, like I said, we'll see. He might be fighting, Wardley, because he just, knocked out, Joseph Parker in a highly, controversial knockout, because the ref stepped in, Joseph Parker, I feel like, still has shit left in him. I feel like he had to dig deep into the gas tank, which I think he was willing to do. This was for an interim belt, man. You got to let it ride. You have to let it ride. And, some fight fans are displeased on the way he didn't let it, in. And let it, he stepped in. But I can't be mad at a ref for stepping in when he has the fighters' lives in his hands. Pretty much. He can stop him from taking punishment if he thinks he's taking punishment, because, Worley did hit him about, 20 times. I mean, all of them didn't connect fully, but they were blows, and if a referee continues to see that without punches thrown back, he's going to have to do something. I would have gave him a standing 8. I would have, let him, I would have counted, and seen if he was, able to continue. And, if I feel like he wasn't, I looked in his eyes and I feel like he wasn't, then, hey, I would have, that's it. But, a referee looking at him for, 5 to 10 seconds straight, I think you can judge if he's good or not, especially when you tell him to walk right, walk left, come to me. You know what I mean? Like, after he's doing all of that, you can tell if his coordination is still there. So, hey. But, no, I don't think Usyk is going to be the next top guy. Terrence Crawford. Can Terrence Crawford be the next guy? I think he can be for the next, maybe year or two, until he retires. I don't see Terrence Crawford fighting for, I don't even see him, fighting for more than, 3 or 4 years. He's getting up there in age, and but I'm not, like I said, on none of these fighters am I trying to put a cap on, but I'm just trying to be realistic as possible. I think out of all those fighters, a person that could probably last longer and fight top guys, and goes for Inoue, Inoue's still young, but they get old quicker in the lighter divisions, so that's, and, look at Chocolatito, you know what I mean? So, these guys aren't super, super crazy old, and, they were like the top guy. And I'm not trying to compare Inoue to Chocolatito, but I'm just saying, time waits for no man. So get the fights in your prime now. And eliminate your division, possibly the division beside you, and maybe the division after that. That's pretty much what the top guys are doing right now. Usyk, goes from cruiserweight to heavy. He takes over cruiserweight completely, and then he goes to heavyweight, and then he takes over heavyweight completely, which I already told you guys he was going to do 5-6 years ago. Okay? Terrence Crawford takes over 135, takes over 140, takes over 147 pounds, takes over 168. Right now, man, you got to give credit where it's due, man. Terrence Crawford's at the top of his game, man, straight up. But I think out of all those guys, I think Terrence Crawford right now, if I had to, put money on it, I think that Terrence Crawford, especially fighting the top guys, they're talking about possibly Terrence Crawford fighting Janabek. Janabek has a fight coming up against Laura. I want to see how he looks in that fight. If he looks spectacular, I would love to see that fight. But Laura is no pushover. Laura's coming off of a stoppage win by possibly future Hall of Famer Danny Swift Garcia. And listen, I never would have thought Laura was going to stop Danny Garcia, but hey, he moved up. He met his match, and that was that. Laura won, but Laura has a whole nother set of problems of a guy that could possibly be in his prime and that's bringing it. So I really want to see how this goes. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a good fight for as long as it lasts. And listen, man, there's a lot of good fights out there, and we got to see the top guys fight the top guys. That's what it comes down to. In the world of boxing, that's what it comes down to. Who's gonna be the very next top guy in the world of boxing, man? Who is it gonna be? And right now, Canelo Alvarez, until we see otherwise, especially numbers-wise, I know he's going to be one of the top ticket sellers, even though he lost. I think the fans will still support him. But I think there's some pretty big fights that Crawford can still make. And I think a lot of people will be, intrigued on what he does for the future of his career, because I think he got a lot of more fan base after the Canelo Alvarez fight. I think his fan base grew tremendously, and I want to see what happens moving forward. I really want to see what happens moving forward. I think that he can be, especially I think he can be one of the top guys, if not the top guy in the world of boxing, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, man. Please smash that like button, you guys, and subscribe. Let me know who you guys think the next top fighter going to be in the world of boxing, man. There's a lot to choose from, a lot of big fights to come up. I'm going to make a video coming in about the David Benavidez versus guy from Anthony Yarde, excuse me. And Anthony Yarde fought, big guys, and he felt Artur Beterbiev's power, man. He felt his power, man. And it got ugly for him. It definitely got ugly for him. Without a doubt, it got ugly for him. And I want to see how this ends, man. How Canelo Alvarez ends his career. But then you got a guy they say David Benavidez. David Benavidez is still only 28 years old. I think he could possibly be the next face of boxing. David Benavidez, especially in those heavier divisions. He's going to move up to 175 pounds. I feel like that'll get him, I think 175 pounds will get him ready for, possibly one day, especially I think he'll move up to 199, 200 cruiserweight. I think he'll grab one of those titles up there after he attempts to wipe out the light heavyweight division. Right now, BoxRec, they got him. I just put on my phone. They got him at number 2, which I'm pretty taken back by that. He got him 2, and they got Beterbiev at 3. And just one fight ago, Artur Beterbiev was the best fighter in the world. In just one fight, he falls from 1 to 3 and didn't get knocked out or nothing. And it was a close fight. No disrespect to Benavidez, but what has he done at 175 pounds to put him ahead of Artur Beterbiev? I'm sorry. That's just to the BoxRec writers out there, whoever's doing, handling the account. I don't know where y'all getting y'all point system from and stuff like that, but come on, man. I think you got to think Beterbiev, you got to put a little bit more respect on his name, and I don't think he's washed up yet by any means. I think he's still dangerous, and I think a fight with David Benavidez versus Artur Beterbiev is the fight that the fans definitely want to see. Nobody wants to go to sleep. Not saying Demetrius Bivol is going to put somebody to sleep, because I think David Benavidez is going to force you to fight. But I think there's going to be a lot more, running around the ring and, trying to, the goal is to hit and not get hit. But I think there's going to be a lot more moving around and pure boxing with Demetrius Bivol, which is nothing wrong with that. But to me, I would rather see David Benavidez versus Arthur Beterbiev, because I know it's going to be an action-packed fight for sure. Get your fucking popcorn ready and put the kids to sleep, you know? Because in the David Benavidez versus Arthur Beterbiev, somebody could possibly go to sleep, you know? But let me know what you guys think in the comment section, man. I'm going to go ahead and head out, man. Thank you guys for listening, man. Who do you guys think the next top boxer is in the world of boxing? All right, let me know, you guys, and females out there. Smash that like button and subscribe. Until next time, you guys. Peace.